Hello everybody, House Shrink here. I am doing another streaming here, live streaming, and it's been extremely powerful. The last few days I have several thousand people. It's huge because I'm talking about things that matter. So I'm going to wait for you to join. I mean, it explodes as soon as I go on, so it'll be wonderful. And what I'm going to be talking about today is finding your gift. And that's very important. And you'll see as you join me why it's so important, and even more important than your passion. Water. Okay, people are beginning to join, and it's usually several thousand people. It's been amazing the last few days, so it's becoming very popular. And remember to always follow my work. Go to my House Shrink, where you are now, and just follow. It's very important because that will allow. Oh, very good. People are starting to join me. Huge. Last couple of days have been several thousand people, so it's becoming a very, very popular presentation. So today is Sunday. I'm listening to Gregorian chanting, and you don't have to be Catholic to listen to Gregorian chanting. It's very old. It's at least 1,500 years old, and it's really powerful. It's really good actually. When women who are pregnant listen to Gregorian music, the embryos and finally the child develop some abilities to understand abstract math later. So it's really very powerful. Anyway, but today I'm going to be talking about the gift, finding your gift, and I'll show you how to find your gift. And forget about those people, those what I call motivation jockeys. They're out there, they don't know anything about psychology, and they say, find your gift, find your gift. Your gift is a noun. It's like looking for a treasure and you don't know where to look. The terrain for passion is your gift. My gift is creativity. My gift is my ability to teach my creativity. And once you find your creativity or your gift, whatever that is, then your passion will follow. So the terrain for passion is creativity. Forget about looking for your passion. You don't know what your passion is, but you know what your gift is. And what is your gift? Something that you do that's unique to you. And don't tell me you don't have a gift. It's just that you haven't found it yet. You have a gift. And your responsibility on this journey is to find your gift. It's something that you do better than other people. It comes very natural to you, and it's there. It is the gift from the source. And the source is what has the undulations of the drift. All right? So, here's how we go. You look for the gift. Forget the passion. The passion will follow. And here's how we do it. So if you just joined, there'll be thousands of people joining here. I'm going to be talking about finding your gift on your journey of your personal journey of self. Find your gift, and you will see what will start happening in your life. You'll become a super you. But I've talked about this earlier on the super you. So how do you do it? The way that you do it is by first looking at what it is that you have that comes natural to you. Oh, hi. A lot of people here. Smithers, quite a few people, a lot of repeats. Doing well, thank you. A lot of repeat. And we have some people who are converted emotional vampires. They used to be emotional vampires. They used to suck energy out of people, and now they've read my books, and they've come out, and they say, I'm no longer an emotional vampire. I am recovering. And now I'm a biocognitive person, which means that what I'm trying to do is create a subculture of wellness here. So you can come in and feel great, feel that you have something to offer, and feel that we celebrate your excellence here. So what we're doing today is we're going to find your gift, the gift that you have. Forget about passion. Forget about the motivational coaches and people tell you, oh, find your gift, find your gift. It's BS. Find your gift, and your gift is a terrain for your passion. So that's what you do. Passion is a noun, an adjective, not a verb. So you have to look for what your gift is. All right, now, what happens when you find your gift? How are you? Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you. When you find your gift, is that, toxic people are time bandits. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Very, very smart. Very good. We don't allow toxic people here. We block and we mute people who are toxic or clowns. So it's been working very well. If you see a clown, block them immediately. If you see someone who's being toxic, block them. And they won't have a place to go. Remember what John Lennon said from the Beatles? He said, what if somebody gave a war and nobody showed up? What if a clown comes on or a toxic comes on and you don't give them any attention? They just wither away. So anyway, we're talking about important things here, but make sure that you follow my work. Following is very important. I want to get up to 10,000 very quickly because 10,000 allows me to do a lot more, allows me to offer more things, learning tools and things that I can't do here right now. So let your friends know, you follow, let everybody know that the House Shrink wants 10,000 followers very quickly. We're close to about 3,000, so we need more. We need a lot more. And it'll happen very quickly. I just have the smoothest just followed, quite a few people. So go ahead. Now, the clowns here are going to be blocked and they're going to be muted. So make sure that you find a clown that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Just block them and mute them. All right. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Your gift. Something that you have that's unique that nobody else has. It's yours. So what do you do with it? Let's say you find it. For example, mine is creativity. I find that my creativity is my gift. So what do? You cultivate it. You get better at it. You improve the part that I talked about on competent self-esteem. You improve that and you get better and better. And then what do? You feel gratitude for having it. You feel gratitude when someone acknowledges your gift. And when you see it in someone else, you admire without envy. So look at all the emotions that are going on here. All of these emotions are immunologically enhancing, meaning that the immune system is enhanced. It's called psychoneuroimmunology, and that's my area of expertise. How thoughts and emotions affect the immune system, the nervous system, and the endocrine system. So when you find your gift, you go into gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful emotion. Then when someone tells you, oh, how wonderful you are, let's say, for example, it's in my case, creativity, how wonderful that you're so creative. Thank you. Never no problem or use false humility and say, oh, no, anybody can do it. No, thank you. Thank you. And that's gratitude. You go into gratitude consciousness. And the gratitude consciousness is immunologically enhancing. When you want to use your gift for the service of others, which is really powerful, then you're doing it with generosity. Generosity is another exalted emotion that's also good for your health and your longevity. I learned all of this from people who are over 100, centenarians, and they're healthy. They have all these abilities. So this is why it's important. I like to call myself a doctor. Well, wonderful. Congratulations. That's nice. So getting back to the topics here. Get to know your gift. Get to know who you are and the gift that you have. And the gift is a gift from the source, what I call the source, and the undulations of the source is your access to the source. And I'll talk about that some other time. The source could be anything you want, God, nature, whatever you want it to be, but there's a source, there's an intelligent design. Okay, now, once you find your gift, and this is what I'm talking about today, finding your gift, not your passion. Forget about those motivational speakers. Find your passion, find your passion. Find your gift, which is a terrain for your passion. All right, so you find your gift, whatever that is. As I said, for me, it's creativity. For you, it may be dancing, your ability to be clear with people, your compassion, your ability to teach, whatever it is. Everyone has a gift. And your responsibility is to find that gift. And the other responsibility is to follow my work here. Because the only way that this is going to expand is by following my work. Yesterday and the day before, several thousand people were on, which is beautiful, wonderful. Quite a few people, and many people joined. Now, as you know, these videos are longer than 60 seconds, so they're not going to be published on TikTok. But TikTok allows downloading these videos to other media. So what I do is I download it to my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. That's my name, Dr. Mario Martinez. House Shrink. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I specialize in neuropsychology in psychoneuroimmunology. All right, now, so any questions? If you have questions on task, if they're clownish questions or toxic questions, I'm going to ignore them and you'll be blocked. So just why? Because you have to respect the audience. You have to respect the people that are here because they're wanting to learn. They're not here to shake their butts. They're here to find out what is good about them. Improve your strengths and manage your weaknesses. Yes, but it's beyond that. You have to find your gift first. You have to find your gift. And your gift is something that you have that comes natural to you. Do I believe in empaths? Well, yeah, people are more empathic. They are able to see more of other people's. Empathic is to be able to see what other people are feeling and to empathize with them. But empathics have to be very careful because sometimes you empathize too much and you can have empathic fatigue, which is giving too much out and not getting enough back. So you have to learn about that. If you're empathic, which is good, you have to be careful that it's not all empathy out there. It's also self-caring. Taking care of yourself is very important too. So that's my answer to empaths. If you just join, and we got thousands of people joining here, very, very popular, I'm talking about the gift. You have to find your gift, not your passion. Passion is a noun, an adjective. It's not an action verb. You have to find your gift. Creativity, I'm creative. That's a gift. And then what you do, what you do then is you find your gift, you cultivate it, you get better and better and better at it. You become very grateful for having that. You give it out with generosity, and you look for it in other people with admiration, without envy. Very, very important. I love your beautiful classes, even though I get muted. Why would you get muted? No, Frida, you're not getting muted, are you? You haven't done anything that gets you off. Now somebody's just coming up with some goofy things, and I'm just going to have to let it go. Okay, why? Now let me look. Your gift is not to be a smartass. That's not a gift. That's a deficit. So if you're here and trying to be cute and all that, that's okay, but that's not a gift. A gift is something that has a value, a service for other people, meaning for you, purpose. I mean, it's okay. Where did I get my degree? From Vanderbilt University and from the University of Madrid. And I have postdoctoral work from in psychoneuroimmunology and psychopharmacology from Fairleigh Dickinson University. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. Oh yeah, I just saw your comments on a random TikTok that says, read my books. Wonderful. I am asking you to read my books because they're great. My books are The Mind Body Code and The Mind Body Self. They're both bestsellers. Is being goofy person to your family a gift? No, that's not a gift, because what's happened is you've taken the archetype of the clown. You have learned that that's the way that you can get attention, and there's more to you than being goofy. There's an elegance to you. There's a brilliance to you, and start bringing that out instead of being goofy. Now, sometimes families reinforce that, and if they put you into the goofy or the clown, then that's all they reinforce. But as an outlier, you have to begin to get deeper into yourself and find other people, like here, find other people here, the subcultural wellness, that will support more than being goofy. You have some beautiful things within you, find them, and then enjoy them, and that is your gift. That is your gift. The gift is always deep. It's not something superficial, like I'm going to be a smart ass. No, that's not a gift. That's just clown. So, okay, how do you find your gift? Great question. You see, now we're tuning in here. We have thousands of people joining us, so pay attention. My gift is love and sensitivity. Is that a gift? Yes, it is. Make sure then that you let it grow. You feel grateful for it. Generously give it without being a caretaker. And then when you see it in other people, acknowledge it, admire it without envy. So how do you find your gift? First, you look and you ask yourself, what comes natural to me that has a lot of meaning? For example, for me, it's creativity. I've always been creative. I didn't realize it was a gift. But people have gifts. Good at math, creative, good at understanding other people, good at carpentry, whatever that is, you have a gift. And usually the way that it comes is that it's there. You don't even have to work hard for it. It comes to you. And other people have to work really hard at it. I say, I don't understand why people are working so hard at it. What I see here is stupidity now admired. Yes, you have a gift. How do you admire stupidity? I missed you there. Yeah, being too sensitive might be too much. And let me tell you how you, especially empathic people, too sensitive means that you're not being enough sensitive to yourself. So how do you find that? You find the middle ground, which is between resentment and guilt. If you do too much, you're going to feel resentful. If you don't do enough, you're going to feel guilty. So you find the benign boundary, what the Buddhists call the middle ground, the middle way, and then you do that. But by the way, when you have to take care of somebody, make sure that you take care of yourself first. Because if you don't, you're not going to be completely there to help other people. Anytime that I have to take care of somebody that I love, immediately I start taking care of myself. I know when people pass away, well, it depends on what you do with it. When make sure you don't let people you're going to pass away or anything like that, because you could create a nocebo effect. But if you know that somebody's, if you're being serious, because some people can sense these things. In fact, for example, and I'm not comparing you to a dog, but the extra sensory abilities that we have, there's some dogs that can identify the smell of cancer and can identify the smell of Parkinson. Now, I'm not saying you're smelling that because you're not a dog, but some people have some very important things. Thank you, such good advice. I appreciate it. I'm giving you something here because I respect you. I know that you're here looking for information. There's a lot of stuff here. Okay, so if you know that people pass away, that's all right. If it's a gift, use it properly and celebrate having known that person. But don't ever tell somebody that they're going to pass away, because that's a very it's a very nocebo, which is I shall do harm. Positivo is I shall do good. So it's very important. But explore that. Explore how is it that you know it, cultivate it, be grateful for it, and see how you can share it. See how you can teach other people, or see how you can see a value in it. What would be what would happen if you're wrong? When you're wrong, it's really good. When you're wrong, somebody's going to die, and you're wrong, find out what it is, because in that way you get better and better at having your gift. So whatever that gift is, it's usually for the good. A gift is never for the bad. A gift is not for evil. That's not a gift. A gift is something that it helps humanity, that it helps you. It has a pro-social value. Certainly you can sense shifts like that. Some people can, some people can't. For example, some people can sense when somebody's being honest or not being honest. Those are gifts, but it's always for the good. You never have a gift for evil. That's not a gift, that's evil. It's a difference. So we're pro-social beings, and we've been pro-social for several 100,000 years, because that's the only way that we can actually survive. I'm watching you while walking. It's so educating. Oh, that's great. Look, let me tell you something. Frida, I do walks. I call them peripatetic walks. And I actually go on my power walks, and I call it contemplative forest, and I do walks like Aristotle did. Aristotle would teach his students going on walks. And when you're moving and you're learning something neuropsychologically, you absorb it better, you learn it better. This is why Aristotle would do that. And by the way, Steve Jobs would do that too. He, the founder of Apple, he would go for walks with people when he wanted to negotiate something with them. So I'm glad you're going for your walk. Let's see, I get very cold and have a gut feeling about somebody dying? Well, find out more about it. There's some mystical components of that. Find out more about it. Some people have some abilities that need to be developed. Thank you for your information. You're welcome. I want to remind you, and there are thousands of people here, so I want to remind you to follow my work, House Shrink. And then tomorrow, this will be available on my other channel, which is on YouTube, Dr. Mario Martinez. Make sure you go there and you follow. I have probably more than 500,000 people that have already visited my YouTube channel, because I have a lot of videos there. about 155 or more videos free that are available to you. But if you want to learn more about it, then read my books. They're both bestsellers. You can get them on Amazon. That's the cheapest. The Mind Body Code and the Mind Body Self. So anyway, you are part of the group here, which I call the subculture of wellness. We're creating a subculture of wellness, a sisterhood, a brotherhood, where we reinforce our abilities. We live in a violent country, most violent in the world. No, it's not. No. You go to Somalia and you'll see some violence. You go to Yemen and you see some violence. You got to look at other countries. We have violence here, but when you compare it to other countries, we're relatively safe. For example, I live in Nashville, and Nashville has a very low crime. You go to Chicago, very high crime. So it's places. Don't generalize, because then that gives you a sense of hopelessness. So it's not that way. What are we learning about? No, nothing to be sorry about. We're talking about how to find your gift, how to celebrate it, how to find the gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful psychoneurological emotion. So you celebrate, you're grateful for the gift that you have, because it was given to you as a gift. And then when you share it, you do it with generosity. But when you see it in other people, you admire it without envy. And also, here's the most important: when somebody notices your gift, don't give them a false humility. Oh no, anybody can do it. No, thank you very much. And don't say no problem, or don't piss it away. Yes, thank you. When somebody says I'm creative, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm glad you noticed that. Don't be afraid of people thinking you're conceited. You're not conceited. You're just being honest with yourself. If somebody says you're wonderful, why would you want to deny and say no, I'm not? You're not accepting the gift. And that's what gratitude is all about. So we have thousands of people here now. It's amazing. It's just moving so quickly that I can't answer all your questions. But if you just joined, the talk for today is your gift. Forget about what I call the motivational jockeys. They make a lot of money without any knowledge of psychology. They're just good marketers. Find your gift. That's bullshit. Your gift is what matters. They say find your passion. I meant to say find your passion is what they say. Your gift is what matters. Your passion is really, it has a terrain. And the terrain for passion is your gift. So make sure that you get it. When somebody says find your passion, forget it. Find your gift. Now, how do you find your gift? By finding something within you that comes natural to you, and it's good. It's good because you realize that it's something, you think that it's yours, and that everybody has the same abilities, and it's not true. You have an ability that other people find it hard. Some people say, for example, say my gift is helping others, but when I lost my brother, I feel like I lost myself. Well, if you lost yourself, look for your gift. Your gift is there, but don't be just a helper, because sometimes helpers are not really very self-caring. A real helper is one who has self-caring first and then helping others. Is that selfish? No. If you're not in good shape, if not physically able, you can't help anybody. So your responsibility when you're trying to help somebody, you help yourself first to be powerful, to be able to help other people. What if you have a gift of evil? No, that's not a gift. That's evil. A gift of goodness. You don't have a gift of evil. You've learned evil by maybe the things that have happened to you, the things that you saw in your life, by following cults that are evil. That's not a gift. Gifts always come from the source, whatever that source could be. It could be intelligent design, nature, God, whatever you want it. A gift is a gift of pro-social value, not hurting. That's not a gift. You can get rid of it and find your gift. So it's not, how do you help yourself? Find your gift. Find out who you are. Find out what you have that's unique. And this is what this is all about here. For you to find what is unique to you, what is your excellence. Someone's talking about, sorry, my son died 12 years ago. The worst loss that you can have is the loss of a child. There's no greater loss. The loss of a child is the greatest. Very painful. One of the things that you can do with any loss, but especially the loss of a child, is you mourn as you have to because it's necessary physiologically, is important, but then create a consciousness where you begin to celebrate having known your child. And when you go into celebration, it sweetens the mourning and allows you to accept what happened in a way that goes beyond the existential and it becomes more transcendental. Celebrate. When I lost my mother, I mourned, but I celebrate having known it. It's a powerful thing, very powerful. So anyway, let's see. Hi Doc, nice to see you. I'm a healer with love and words. Good, but make sure you take care of yourself also. If that's your gift, good. But by the way, the gift has a responsibility. The responsibility of the gift is, number one, to accept it with gratitude and to share it with generosity. But also to accept it with gratitude when someone else notices it. Don't go into false humility. The cultures will teach you false humility. I like your shirt. Oh, it's so old, I haven't worn it. Don't do that. I like your shirt. Thank you. I appreciate it. You have good taste. That's the way you deal with it. I have trauma from near-death experiences. All right, well, if you have near-death experiences, then most people come back with a lot of compassion and a sense of there's something beyond life. So look into that. There are a lot of articles on that. Read that, and you'll see there's some really good things about having a near-death experience. Okay, we have thousands of people here now. Thousands of people. This is great. It's going organic. I don't want to say viral because that sounds so pathological. Organic. Huge number of people. But don't forget to follow. That's your job. Don't forget to follow. Can you be too old to find your gift? Not at all. Your gift can come if you're 102. I have worked with centenarians all over the world. People who are over 100 who are healthy, they're constantly looking for their gifts. They're constantly using their gifts. They think that they have, for example, a centenarian always thinks that they have all the time in the world, that the present is never too late to make decisions. They know how to forgive, and they know that they are here for a purpose. So that's the idea. If you just join, this is how shrink. Follow my work before you do anything else. Click follow, and that will allow me to have a larger audience. I want to get to 10,000 very quickly because that will allow me to do more things. I can add some learning tools here, and of course I can reach a larger audience. And what are the people's gifts? You have to find out what they are. I'm going to drink some water. So everyone has a unique gift. Excuse me. And the unique gift that you have, water. I've been talking all day, so my throat gets a little dry. So anyway, take a couple of seconds, slow down, and your throat will slow down. First time your channel, good job, from Rhode Island. Oh great, Rhode Island. Welcome. Make sure you follow. I always like when I do these streamings to ask people where they're from, because it's important to know where you're from another country or from another state. I am in Nashville, Tennessee, so I like to know where people are from. I've had people from Mongolia, South Africa, the Philippines, Rhode Island, everywhere. Hi, I'm from Houston. Great. Oregon. Wonderful. Houston. Don't mess with Texas, right? UK. Hello, lad or laddies. Canada. Beautiful. How wonderful. This is very international. Belgium. Texas. I'm stepping back and trying to care for myself now. Wonderful. One of the ways, Kentucky, you're right next door. New Orleans, San Antonio. See how beautiful? Georgia, Nashville, great. Panthea Bryant, Nashville, so we're neighbors. Houston, Texas again. Palestine, Texas. Decatur, Tennessee. I know Decatur, Tennessee. My work has been very demanding and draining during this pandemic. Okay, what that means, Vancouver, British Columbia. You have to take care of yourself. Amarillo, Texas. Philadelphia. This is what you have to do. You always make time for yourself. Don't come up with any excuses. You always make time for yourself. Otherwise, you're not good to anybody. Mukilteo? Washington? Okay, wonderful. See how many people from all over the place. Decatur is extra small. It's not that small. LA. I've done a lot of work in LA. Let me tell you something. 90% of my books sell in LA. That's it. LA, New York. Both of my books, The Mind Body Code and The Mind Body Self, are bestsellers. They sell in LA 90%. So that's wonderful. I lost my mom, can't cry, feel guilty. You don't have to cry to mourn. You just have to allow the memories that you have of your mother come, and then celebrate having known your mother. And then you'll cry or not. It doesn't matter. You don't need to cry. What you need to do is you need to mourn. Be aware that she's no longer with you in one level, but she's with you at another level, if you believe that. But I can't overemphasize how important it is to celebrate having known someone that you lost. Very important. Prince George, British Columbia, wonderful. Is it possible for someone that's sick to find the gift and possibly heal themselves? Well, I have seen that happen. I don't want to tell you that's going to happen, but I've seen it happen. Because sometimes when people get sick, you never blame yourself for getting sick, but sometimes when people get sick, it's because of the amount of toxicity that they're living and the amount of hatred that they have for themselves. And I'll tell you, whether you heal or not, immunologically, it will help you if you begin to love yourself and take care of yourself. You know that when you feel love and when you see compassion out there, you have oxytocin released, you have IgAs released, which are antibodies that work on upper respiratory viruses. So it's very powerful. I'm not saying that it's going to heal you, but it's certainly going to help you tremendously. So try that. Celebrate the good times you got to have. Yes, celebrate the times that you had with that person. Celebration has a psychoneuroimmunology. A celebration has a very powerful psychoneuroimmunology. But also, if you mourn with pain and you mourn with tremendous loss without knowing that that person is there with you, by you celebrating them. If you celebrate them, they're still there with you. How do you heal from losing children and grandchildren due to an argument? Well, that's a very general question, but I think what you need to do, you lost them meaning life, or that you can't see them anymore. After my mother died, I discovered the extent of her generosity to so many people. That challenged me. Good. So another thing that you can do, from Ireland. I love Ireland. That's my most favorite country besides the United States. I have been to Ireland so many times, and I do lectures in Ireland, and Galway, many places in Ireland. I love Ireland and the people from Ireland. So what you do is that you realize that the people that you no longer have with you taught you a lot of things that are there, and they need to be unfolded. What about NYC, New York City? What about it? Naples, Florida, NYC. That's my second biggest sales area of my books. LA is number 1, New York is number 2. And my books are The Mind Body Code, The Mind Body Self. Make sure that you follow my work here. And tomorrow, this video will be available in its entirety. My other social media, which is the YouTube channel, and it's Dr. Mario Martinez. That's my. Are you German? No, I'm not. I'm Spanish. My father was from Spain, and in French and Spanish. Are you a doctor? Yes, I'm a clinical psychologist. My doctorate is in clinical psychology and neuropsychology, and I specialize on how cultural beliefs affect the immune system. How do I help a very stubborn 15-year-old daughter acting out? Give her options. Freedom equals options, and adolescents can do really well with options. You can say you have to do this, you can do it this way, this way, this way. Choose which one you want, and you'll see a difference, because you're giving them an opportunity to choose. Otherwise, they feel they're out of control and they'll fight you. Sweet PhD. PsyD is a doctorate in clinical psychology from the University of Madrid. Then I did also graduate work. My master's is from Vanderbilt University, and postdoctoral work at other places. So anyway, what this gentleman is saying is spot on. Well, how can I disagree with that? I think it's wonderful. Culture believes that influence the immune system? Yes. It's called cultural psychoneuroimmunology. Our immune system has learned to respond to a cultural brain. Before we had language, we had smell, and we had other ways of protecting ourselves. You could smell a lion. Now you can say there's a lion. So the brain had to learn cultural language, and the immune system had to learn to respond to the cultural brain. So for example, if someone shames you, it's a word. Somebody said, "You're such an idiot." If someone shames you, you respond, your immune system responds as if some kind of a pathology there. You will have immunological inflammation. You begin to secrete molecules of inflammation, like tumor necrosis factor, interleukin 2. So we're bioinformational and biosymbolic. So it's very important what you say to yourself. This is why I don't want you to say, "No problem." What the hell is this no problem thing? Thank you, you're welcome. When you say no problem, you're saying to the brain, wait a minute, this could have been a problem. Don't do that. Your language is an expression of you. It's a reflection of you. So from now on, when somebody says thank you, you're welcome. No problem, out of your mind. Oh, hello from the Netherlands. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. The Netherlands are just a beautiful country. This is so cool. Thanks, informative. Bunch of individuals with you very entertaining. Thank you, and educating. Do you believe ADHD meds help, or is there something more natural? I can't give you medical information here because you have to work with your doctor. As a clinical psychologist, in my work that I've done with attention deficit disorder, with or without hyperactivity, I have articles on this. It's not a disorder, and it's not an attention deficit. It's an abundance of curiosity. Usually people that are very smart, and they're all over the place, but you notice when they find a video that they like, they spend hours. What happens to the hyperactivity? And I know the neurochemistry of dopamine and dopamine transmitters and transported, all of that. It's not a disorder, and it's not an attention deficit. It needs to be treated, but it is an abundance of curiosity. Why is taking bipolar meds so serious? Well, that's something you have to talk to your psychiatrist about. When people have bipolar affective disorder, which just means too high, too low, sometimes they need medications like lithium and others that regulate your moods. But in addition to medication, you always have to have some psychotherapy to help you deal with the learning component of the illness. But you always have to follow what your professional says. That's very important. How do you mend a broken heart? Is that a song? But I can tell you how to mend a broken heart. When someone, and in fact, some cardiologists are finding now that they call it the broken heart syndrome, where they find you have an EKG, and they find something with your heart that's related to having had a broken heart. But how do you deal with it? When someone no longer wants to be with you, you let them go, and you put your trust in your journey. Trust in your journey. That's it. Anytime the thought comes into that person, trust in your journey. What will happen? After a while, you'll be able to celebrate that that person is no longer with you. You'll say, I celebrate that you had the good sense of leaving me, because it was a hell of a thing. You also don't want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with you. I have some videos on this, and especially in my books, The Mind-Body Code. Read that because it's very important. For me, it's the energy behind the word, not per se the word. I wouldn't call it energy, because energy, what is it? What kind of energy? Bioinformation. It's a biological cognitive response. So the word is biosymbolic, and it's not energy. It's a psychoneuroimmunological process. I would not call it energy. You have a lot of theoretical theories. Yeah, well, I'm the founder of biocognitive science. It's mind, body, and culture. So I'm bringing a new science in to mind, body, and I bring neuropsychology, psychoneuroimmunology, cultural neuroscience, anthropology together. So that's why it comes together that way. Interesting man, you're a blessing. Thank you, I appreciate that very much. And I'm glad you're here, and we have thousands of people here. And what I want to tell you is now that if you came in late, follow my work immediately so that I can have the expansion to meet up and reach other people. And then remember that you can go to my YouTube channel tomorrow, and the whole video will be there if you missed it. And what you do is you go to Dr. Mario Martinez, Dr. Mario Martinez, and that's it. You go there. Political questions will not be answered. It looks like 53, but when you end it, yesterday was several thousand people. It's showing just the people that are on, but in general, it'll say that it'll be thousands of people. Last one that I did were over 2,000 people, so you'll see. What helps when someone passes away and you didn't get the opportunity to say goodbye? You can say goodbye in a meditation. You can do a meditation where you do a contemplative state. I have some videos on that, and I show it in my books. And then say goodbye to that person, because it's within your reality that you have to do it. You say goodbye to that person, you embody it, you feel it, how is it landing in your body, and then you let it go. So there are many illnesses, and some illnesses are very serious. The thing to do is to have a good doctor that works with you and who always gives you hope with evidence. Because, for example, when you look at the normal curve and you find, let's say you have an illness and they say you have 6 months to live, that's bad science. That's stupid. What they need to tell you is, on the average, people live 6 months. But if you look at the other side of the curve, you have the left tail and the right tail. Some people with that illness live 6 weeks, but some people with that illness on the other side of the tail live 10 years. Let's look and find out what these people are doing so we can work on it. That's the kind of professional that you want. They're telling you the truth, but they're not telling you a sentence. They're giving you an average. Remember that. What is the right words to say to someone that is dying? You wait for them to let you know what they need. You don't tell them anything, it's going to be okay. You don't do that. What do you need? Is there anything that I can do to help? Always ask. Do you live with a narcissist? No, thank God I don't live with a narcissist. Narcissists are people that are very difficult to live with. Narcissists have a real problem with empathy. They always find something wrong with you, and they always criticize you, so it's very difficult to deal with them. What is your profession? Disregard the opinions of the practitioners before them. That's a hell of a generalization. My profession is hundreds of thousands of clinical psychologists. You can ask me what I think, and I'll tell you. So when you generalize, you're missing the point. Thoughts on the afterlife? Well, I believe that consciousness is something that doesn't die. That's my belief. It's not scientific, that's my belief. And that consciousness stays and continues in another dimension. That's my phenomenology and my belief. That's how I look at it. How to help an adolescent with social anxiety? Well, they need professional help, but also you want to find out how they learned that social anxiety. Sometimes it comes from bullying, sometimes it comes from feeling like they're not accepted. And remember, adolescence is very difficult because you're not a child anymore, and you're not an adult. You're somewhere in between, and you have to help them find themselves by finding out what they need. Best medication for depression and anxiety? It would be unethical for me to tell you because I don't know who you are. You need to check with your professionals, and they will tell you. Whatever you take for depression or anxiety, always get psychotherapy because they go along a lot better. Psychotherapy with medication works better than just medication alone. Okay, my husband has severe OCD, and what do you do when they're going through an OCD rage episode? Well, a lot of times the OCD, you don't try to do anything when they're going through the rage. It's like when an alcoholic, you don't talk to an alcoholic when they're drunk because you're talking to a bottle. What you do is when they're not having their OCD, you talk to them and you ask them, what I call the precursors? What are the precursors before you go into your rage? And when you have your precursor, let me know so I don't participate with you. That's it. You don't participate. And gradually, I think they become aware, but also it's very important to get some psychotherapy. It's important to get some help. My psychologist told me ADHD was created to keep black children in special education for misbehaving. That's a stupid psychologist. That's putting politics into science. That's stupid because there are a hell of a lot of white ADHD. In fact, they're more white than that. That's stupid. You got to be careful. When a professional puts politics and their agendas into science, they stop being scientists and they become assholes. That's what I have to say. Okay, now, mom had small cell lung cancer, 38. How do I deal with this? How do you mean, how do you deal with what? What part of it? By the way, family illnesses are only a propensity. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen to you. Family illness is a propensity for something to happen, and you have the ability to suppress it or not depending on how you live your life. So be aware of that. Get help, but don't feel like you're genetically sentenced. It's only a propensity. Yeah, I just disrespected the other professional. I did because it needed to be disrespected. When a professional uses politics with science, I definitely disrespect them. No political correctness there. An asshole, somebody who says that. So that's how I see it. All right? Call it as it is, and I can be very, very inappropriate with correctness. A professional has a responsibility to get politics and race and all that kind of shit out. You have to deal with your profession. ADHD, it has nothing to do with race or anything else. It has to do with a problem that a person has, independent, white, black, whatever, with an abundance of curiosity that needs to be dealt with, independent of your race. That's what I had to say. What is your thought on COVID? What about it? I mean, COVID is very serious, but also you can't live in fear. I have a really good article on COVID that you should read. You can go to medium.com and look. Dr. Mario Martinez has had over 50,000 reads already on how to deal with COVID. COVID needs to be taken seriously, and you need to be cautious, but you don't want to live in fear, because fear suppresses the immune system, and the immune system then, when suppressed, you're more prone to it. What my degree is in clinical psychology. I'm a doctorate in clinical psychology and has postdoctoral work in psychopharmacology. Is the vaccine safe? Well, it depends. There are three. There's the Pfizer, and there's 2 or 3 others, the Johnson & Johnson. This is something you need to talk to your professional about. There's nothing completely safe. In medicine, it's called risk-benefit. And you have to look at the risk and the benefit, and you make your decision with your professional, and then what decision you make, then that's good. If you had COVID, should you get the vaccine? Well, if you had COVID, you already have antibodies that protect you against the vaccine. But again, you need to talk to your professional because it depends on the individual. I can't give you clinical advice here specifically because it would be unethical. I can't do that. But talk to your professional. But the immunology of it is that you already have antibodies. So if you get it again, it won't be as strong because your antibodies that protect you from it. But you have to talk to a professional. Do you consider ADHD a diagnosis or a symptom of some underlying cause? It could be a diagnosis, but it's wrong to call it attention deficit disorder, my professional opinion, or to call it a disorder. I think that it is an abundance of curiosity, neuropsychologically, that needs to be treated. And in some cases with medication, in some cases not. But it's the most important thing that needs to be done with a professional. What is your take on self-fulfilling prophecy? Well, self-fulfilling prophecy is that if you believe something, what will happen is that you have a selective perception, you look for it to confirm it. Because the way that the brain works is the brain tries to confirm whatever you tell it. If you say the world is terrible, the brain will look for ways to confirm that the world is terrible. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you say the world is good, you look for evidence that the world is good, and it'll be there. So you have to be very careful with the self-fulfilling prophecy concept. You have to, if it's positive, look for the positive. But if it's negative, then question it. Where was ADHD 40 years ago? We had kids. Well, that's a really good question. It's happening. But what's happening now, ADHD, one of the theories of it is that it's an adjustment to a tremendous amount of overinformation. Tremendous amount of overinformation. 50 years ago, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have the things that are going on television, you had the video games, like all kinds of things going on. So in some cases, there's some beliefs that it's an adjustment to the over amount of information, and usually people with ADHD are very intelligent and they get bored very easily, and sometimes the educational system has failed students because they're giving them some crap information, and they're not teaching them how to think anymore. They're teaching them, this is what you have to think. What do you think about multiple personality disorder? Multiple personality is highly, highly rare. But when this happens, it's fascinating because I'll tell you what, it's an ability that a person has to change their physiology. And it would be wonderful to be able to tap into that and find out. Some people with a multiple personality, in one they're diabetic type 2, in the other one they're healthy. But even more important, look at the power of this. Some people will have a multiple personality with green eyes, and another will become blue eyes. Incredible, the physiology. So it needs to be studied and needs to be looked into as a gift, especially if it's not something that's going to hurt you, but always with professional advice. My 95-year-old dad, totally ADHD. Well, it's worked for him if he's 95. Can you explain the narcissistic personality? All right. Thousands of people are showing up, so I'm not able to answer all the questions, but I'll try. Let's see. The narcissistic personality, it's very difficult because that person has either an inability or an unwillingness to be empathic with others. And it's really the personality disorder is really a self-esteem disorder. Although you think that they feel they're wonderful, it's an overcompensation for low self-esteem. So they are always looking for ways of protecting themselves, so they criticize you. They always make you feel that it's your fault. They have a real problem with apologizing. When they do it manipulativeness. They don't really mean it. They don't do it as an authentic thing. They do it to manipulate. They also have a problem with empathizing with you. So if you say, look, this is hurting me. Well, it shouldn't be hurting you because I'm telling you, they don't pay attention. They're not empathic. They don't know go out. They can't go out and see the other side. So it's very difficult. Thoughts hallucinogenic used in mental health. Well, I had go to my video tomorrow or today on YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and I have a long video on ayahuasca and the brain, and you'll get all the information there. Okay, so it's quite a bit of information. They have no morality. Yeah, they have a real hard time with a moral compass. They do whatever is expedient for them, and the hell with everybody else. Very self-absorbed, and very little ability to empathize with other people. What do I think about bipolar disorder? What about it? It's a disorder. It needs to be treated. Great. Sharing. Oh, you can also, it's good to share the video too. It's very important. Very, very important. Try divorcing one. It's very difficult. But once you do, you'll be at peace. But also, at least try to get some help first to see if maybe some people can come out of it. Some people can't. Do I believe in parallel dimensions? Well, I don't know if I believe in it or not, but let's stay with the subject here. How do you deal with a parent that's stubborn and set in their own ways? By understanding that you're not going to change their mind. All you do is you give them the amount of love that they can handle and then pull back. You're not going to change them. That's who they are. That's what they are. All you do is you be different and allow them to have an opportunity to see the difference, but you can't change them. So be aware. What is the field of expertise? Clinical psychologist. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. My doctorate is in clinical psychology and neuropsychology. My specialty is working with psychoneuroimmunology, how thoughts and emotion affect the nervous, immune, and endocrine system. What are my thoughts on fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia is epidemic. It's all over the place. I treat fibromyalgia quite a bit. And it's really, it's not really autoimmune. It has inflammatory kinds of process, but the immune system doesn't do destruction. But it's a variety of things. I have an article. Go to medium.com and under Dr. Mario Martinez and look up my article on fibromyalgia. You'll see a lot of information. Do you believe people's moods are habitual? It depends. Moods come and go. There's states and traits, and so it's a general question. But the moods are also contextual, depending on the context and what you learn of how to do in a context. So that's what causes narcissism. There are a lot of reasons. Some of the reasons are that neuropsychologically they don't develop the part of a gyrification. It's called the folding of the brain, that it doesn't happen in the first 2 years as it should, and then they have some problems with empathizing and getting out of themselves. There are many theories. There's some are neurological, there's some are behavioral, but it's very difficult. What causes psychosis? Not the drug-induced one. Psychosis, again, it has to do with brain function, and psychosis is genetic, can be genetic. It can be caused by trauma, and it's a very difficult thing to deal with. And most people that are psychotic need some medication, especially if they have paranoid schizophrenic kinds of problems, because they can be dangerous to themselves and others. So following the host, very good. This is what needs to happen. And I'm very, very glad that you're following. Also share the videos, very important that you do. Can a narcissist change? No, medication does not change the narcissist. Narcissism medication is not going to do anything. It's a personality disorder. If they want to change, they can, but it's very difficult. And it's a tremendous drain on the individual. Let's see what else here. Following the host, very important that you follow the host. Are emotions contagious? No, they're not contagious in the sense like a pathogen, but you can imitate emotions. For example, let's say you're around a very negative person for a while, you start being negative, not because it's contagious, but because it gets you into that bioinformational field. So be aware of what I call the emotional vampires, and don't be around them because they'll suck your energy, they'll suck your bioinformational field. How do you differentiate severe OCD with psychosis? Well, the obsessive compulsive disorder is not a psychosis. Psychosis has to do with a level of, you have to have delusions, you have to have, in some cases, hallucinations, things that are not there, visual, auditory, proprioceptive. The obsessive compulsive disorder is not, it's a disorder, is not a psychosis. Because the obsessive compulsive disorder does not have the hallucinations and the delusions. It's very different. And it has to be diagnosed by a professional. But those are the general kind of quick fix type of thing. My ex is an energy vampire. Good. Have you celebrated being away from him or her? Do you like Jordan Peterson? People ask me about that. Jordan Peterson, independent of whether you agree, conservative, liberal, is a very courageous man. Because he tells you how science is. It's not whether it's liberal, conservative. He tells you about science, and he fights the tyranny of the of people who are trying to be politically correct and want you to be a good thing. So I admire Jordan Peterson. Nothing to do with politics. He's a colleague, and he has gone through hell. He almost died the way the media treated him. So he's very popular, by the way. A lot of young people are following him because they need some guidance. They need some way of looking at life. He has over 130 million people following him on YouTube. So anyway, all right. So again, try to, or don't try, follow my work. Hold on a second. Hey, Google, turn the sound down. Google was getting damn loud, so I had to turn it down. Excuse me. Thoughts on fighting the cells that allow your body to age. Here's the way to do it. Aging, that's one of my areas of expertise. I work with centenarians all over the world. And in my books, you have to read my books, it's very extensive. The Mind-Body Code and the Mind-Body Self. But here's how you deal with it. Centenarians are very healthy, and genetics is only 20%. The rest is the way they deal with the world. The rest is the ability to forgive, the ability to be able to express righteous anger and not keep it, the ability to feel like you have all the time in the world, and for example, telomeres are the caps at the end of chromosomes to keep the chromosomes together, but also they will determine how many cell divisions you're going to have. And it was thought that, well, if you have long telomeres, you're going to live a long time, and if you have short telomeres, that's not true. You have long and short telomeres, but telomerase is an enzyme that actually feeds the telomeres, and telomerase can be dealt with in many ways. Love, and this sounds so touchy-feely, but love, admiration without envy, all these wonderful things, actually righteous anger, the ability to express anger when your innocence has been affected, are very powerful. But read my books because I have a lot of information there. Let's see, I think I missed a picture here. Political correctness was hijacked years ago by propaganda. Political correctness is the biggest bullshit that you can deal with. Read 1984 by George Orwell. He'll tell you about what political correctness is all about. It kills individualism. It kills your opinion to push back. You have to live. I would say that political correctness is what the Inquisition used to be. The Inquisition, when Galileo said that the Earth was not the center of the universe, the Inquisition house arrested him. They couldn't publish anything, and sometimes you would be killed you burned at the stake, or you would be treated as if you were some animal, and you were tortured. Well, the Inquisition is alive. They don't burn you anymore, but they take your grants away. They make you look like a charlatan. Sometimes you can lose your license just by having an opinion against groupthink. So that's how I think about political correctness. What are your thoughts about the vaccine? That's a very general question. I already talked about it. So tomorrow, go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and you'll see all the things that I had to say about the vaccine. But remember, you always, always consult with your professionals. What I'm telling you here is my opinion, my professional opinion, but always consult with your professional. So I'm not giving you any advice here to go against any professional, but just consult with them. And you're a consumer. You don't like your professional, you can go to another one. But don't try to do, if you have a toothache, you go to your dentist. Well, if you have a mental health problem, you go to a psychologist, psychiatrist. If you have a internal medicine, then you go to internal medicine. That's what professionals are for. So, anyway, a lot of new messages here. It's very difficult for me to pick up on. Let's see. My family doesn't come around because I don't have the same views. Fine. People don't have to agree with you. Look, you can have an opinion and give people permission to not like it. Otherwise, it's groupthink. You're not a robot. You can have an idea, and people that you love can disagree with each other, and you respect each other's opinion. And that's what political correctness doesn't do. They're wonderful and they're loving until you break the rule, and then they ravage you. So you have to be able to be elegant, allow other people to have disagreements, and discourse, talk about it, and use logic rather than putting the person down. Use logic, because supposedly we live in a free society. So exercise your freedom with tolerance for other people's opinion. Respect them and let them respect yours. That's what I have to say. Okay, a lot of people are following. We've had several thousand people last time. And I know it only shows a few here, but when I finish, it says several thousand, which is wonderful. I'm to be free with my beliefs. I don't deal with people ever. I stay with hubby and Jesus. Well, that's wonderful, but you have to deal with people. If you want to. If you don't, then fine. Stay with whatever works for you. So make sure you follow. If you just joined, it's been a long discussion on finding your gift. You notice how I went all over the place? Let's get back. Finding your gift. Find what's unique to you. Cultivate it. Be grateful for it. Be generous with it. When people notice it in you, be grateful about it. Don't deny it. And when you see it in other people, admire them without any envy, and that'll be powerful. I'm trying to keep an open mind here and press my own refresh brain button. Or good. All right. So everybody's following. That's good. Tomorrow, this video will be available on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. My books are The Mind Body Code, The Mind Body Self. For those of you who want to get the book, they're on Amazon. The best place to get them on Amazon because they're the cheapest. I'm a musician. I'm a musician. Chasing the Dream in LA and TikTok is helping a lot. That's good. That's good. If you're a musician and that's your gift, follow it, and be at peace with yourself, and be patient because it takes a while. It takes a while. So what superpowers do you possess and other therapists that allows you to leave your work? I don't have any superpowers. I just have information as a scientist. Some work, some don't. I do what I have learned to do. I know the brain, and I know behavior, and I know culture, so I bring that together, and I give you the best shot. Thanks for your help, doctor. You're welcome. Okay, now 2 new messages here. I don't want to miss your messages here. You got high rates on your books. Great, yeah, I do have high rates, and this is wonderful. People that have read it, and I have some really good endorsements from other professionals, they're doing very well. My books do really well in LA, in Seattle, New York, but I live in Nashville, and they don't do as well here. I don't know why, but they do very well everywhere. How do you find your gift? You look for things. For example, my gift is my creativity. I have great trust in my creativity. Find the things that come to you that are just easy for you to. For example, creativity is easy for me. Ability in math, ability to be empathic with people, ability to understand others, ability to do something that other people can't do, dance, whatever. Find your gift and then cultivate it and share it with others. Do you think as a society we're making advances in the psychology? Oh yeah, tremendous advances, and I'll tell you why. Now we have what we didn't have before, what's called the functional MRI. It's a scanning of your brain in real time, so they can actually see what's going on in your brain when they do certain things. So they can do meditation and see what the brain does. They can give you some drugs. They can do, for example, the hallucinogens, ayahuasca, and see what it does to the brain. And that's how we know now how these hallucinogens and psychedelics affect the brain. We know why it causes these things that it causes, like expansion of consciousness and all that. Thoughts on being left-handed and using right side of the brain. Well, what happens is that the brain works for most right-handed people. It's contralateral. If the right side of the brain, for example, the motor strip of the brain, the right side is controlled by the left side and so forth, except the visual. The visual has both contra and the same side. What happens is that most people who are right-handed have language and logic on the left side and non-linguistic, intuitive kinds of things on the right side. But some left-handed people have it inverse and some don't. It's just it happens to be with however you are. And there's nothing abnormal about that. It's just how it is. Hello, my gift, I can strongly influence people. I don't know what to do with it though. Well, influence them in the good way. Try to bring out their excellence. Try to bring out what's best in them, and that's how you can influence. People that influence are leaders. They're thought leaders. But you have a responsibility. Remember, with a gift, you have a responsibility to use it for the good. To use it pro-socially, to use it in a way that it enhances people's abilities to feel good about themselves. Hippies have known this for years. What's the medical field listen? Why doesn't it listen? Well, that's kind of general, but I'm not sure what you're saying about the hippies. What is it if they're ambidextrous? That's okay. If you're ambidextrous, you're still going to have some dominance on one side or the other. Could be right-handed, left-handed, but you might have a dominance in language on one side or the other. And the brain has this ability to overcompensate and has that redundancy. In case you have a brain damage in one particular area, then the plasticity works and it helps you on the other. Have such a strong fear on learning because of my childhood. Any way of overcoming it? Yes, what you learned, you can unlearn. Whatever you learned in your childhood was learned. How can you unlearn it? By beginning to look at your gift, by beginning to look at people that support your gift, and beginning to look at the people that punished you when you were young, and being aware that you don't want to be around people like that. And sometimes when people punish you when you were young, you look for people like that without knowing it. My psychologist told me being gay isn't natural. Well, that's an opinion. I'm not going to get into gayness or anything, but let me tell you the difference here, which I talked about. There's a video that you can look into. Gender, there are only 2 genders, male and female, and hermaphrodites, which are both male and female. Choices and identities about your sexual preference, they could be 100. You can be anything you want. There's nothing abnormal about being gay. Nothing abnormal. There are people that are very normal gay, and there are people that are very abnormal gay, and there are a lot of people who are heterosexual, normal, and abnormal. So gayness in itself is not a mental problem. It's a preference that you have. But you got to be aware that gender and sexual orientation are two different things. It's very important to see that. How do you think out of the box? Again, find your gift. Find out how you're different than other people in a good way. Find your gift. I cannot overemphasize. This whole thing is about the gift. You find it. You cultivate it. You become very grateful for it. You become very generous in giving it out. You become grateful when people give it to you. And you also see it in other people with admiration without envy. That's the key. So it's very important. What would you give best advice for social phobias? Social phobias are learned, like all phobias are learned. There's systematic desensitization. There are many techniques. Social phobias have a really good prognosis. I would suggest you read my book, especially the Mind-Body Code. I've done a lot of work with social phobias, and they all can be unlearned. Systematic desensitization is one of the techniques, but there are many. So I can't tell you because I don't know your clinical history, but there's good news about social phobias. Anxiety also. Anxiety is a learned behavior. And anxiety has to do with how you learned how to deal with adversity. Some families will go, something happens, oh my God, and they get all, something happens, okay, how do we do with it? It's a learning process. But anxiety also, meditation is very powerful for anxiety. Tai Chi, yoga, Kung Fu, all of the movements are very good, but especially meditation with the contemplative meditation is really good for anxiety. But you have to learn what it is that's causing your anxiety. How did you learn it? So read my books, The Mind-Body Code, The Mind-Body Self. There's a lot of information there. But don't forget to follow here. Follow, because that's how I can reach out to you. And also go to my YouTube channel for this. This will be on tomorrow, and you'll see it in entirety. And it's Dr. Mario Martinez. And if you want to see other things that I'm doing, go to my website, biocognitive.com. Just Google biocognitive Dr. Martinez, and you'll find it. And I have articles, all kinds of things there. My books, Cognitive Dr. Martinez, and you'll find it. And I have articles, all kinds of things there. My books. So my body's just, I said my battery's about ready to go. So I'm going to have to close down here and tell you that I really, really enjoyed. And I want to remind you to follow my work, spread the word, and let's get it to 10,000. It's close to 3,000 now. Let's get it to 10,000. We can have 10,000 followers, because I'll be able to do a lot more with you when you do that. And then also go to my YouTube, Dr. Mario Martinez, over 155 videos available to you that are free. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. You're so helpful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's my pleasure to be here, and it's my honor to see you here. God bless everyone and take care. Thank you. I appreciate that. So stay tuned. More to come. And you are part of the subculture of wellness. So stay here and go to my channel here, follow it, and then go to YouTube and spread the word. Share my information because it's free and it's good. So enjoy and take care of yourselves, and much love to all of you. Enjoy.